Hello, all Animal Crossing lovers, and today we are doing a deep dive into hard mode. Let's see what it's all about. Now, today's video, we are going into the rules of hard mode. We are figuring out what all these rules are, what every single one looks like, and how it came to be. It can be kind of confusing, all the different rules that there are inside of hard mode, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to explain them, and that way we can kind of see a little bit as to why all of these rules exist, and then what we can do to actually make those happen. Now, it is not too late to start hard mode. If you are watching this and you're like, I want to know what hard mode is, but I don't know exactly how to start, this is a great way to start. Be able to see what those rules are, see if it's going to be something that's going to be able to go along with any of your playthroughs, and then just delete your save data. Just delete it. Just start a new island. Let's do some hard mode deep diving. Let's start right here with the first set of rules, which is going to be about restarting your island. So let's go ahead and dive into what those look like. Now, here are all the rules. Like I said, it starts with restarting, villager rules, daily rules, design rules, and economy rules. You must also, of course, put hard mode on your bulletin board as well. We're going to break down each of these sections and go by them one by one. But the creator who actually started hard mode was Pat here at Nintentalk. Now, Nintentalk is great. They do lots of different streams. They also do a lot of different videos on Nintendo in general, reactions to Direct. But the video that started it all was this one. This was the hard mode video that he kind of came up with a whole set of rules to be able to play this game differently, and I think really focus on playing it the way it was meant to be. And that's what these rules are about. The rules aren't really set there so you have to do a certain amount of things. It's about loving the game for what it is and not trying to take advantage, because you can take advantage of the system so well and then never have to really do much in the game and you get burnt out super fast. So I highly encourage you to check out Nintentalk's channel. That's where you can get as well to the Discord, where you can get all sorts of stuff relating this hard mode. So check it out. Now, when it comes to restarting your island, you're going to see there's 3 main rules. You can have up to 1 reroll on your island layouts. Your island name must come from an Animal Crossing island name generator, which has unlimited rerolls. And your starting villagers must pick their house spot. Now, we're going to kind of see what that looks like. And technically, it's a tent at first. But let's take a look. Now, when you first restart, when you delete your save data and you start again, and you see Timmy and Tommy here at the desk, you're excited. You're presented with all these different options for your island layout. And if you're like me, I've spent probably hours trying to find the right layout. And hard mode rules are all about enjoying Animal Crossing again, enjoying the beginning, enjoying every moment. And one reroll allows you to really just go ahead and pick one that's presented to you, one of the random options. And of course, you're going to be super excited to see your starting villagers. Maybe, because sometimes you're assaulted with them. For this playthrough, I had Paula and Rold, and I really wasn't thrilled with Rold, but I'm gonna have them anyways. I like the island. I like everything else. I have peaches on my island. Hello, amazing. So when it comes to the next rule about the island name generator, there are many of them on Google. All you have to do is do a quick Google search on Animal Crossing island name generator. You'll pop up with a couple, and Pixel Poppers is the first one that comes up. And these are some of the island names you're gonna see. Grim Rubber's a little weird. So is Zootide Pie, but there are some cute ones. Peacock. There's also going to be ones like Birch Egg, which is a little weird. Okay, all of these are weird. I take it back. They're all weird. Top B is a little bit cute. But as you can see, there's also different categories that you can have for your word, like land features, forest, flowers, space. So if you do want to have one that's like a little bit more dark or weird or cottagecore, you can make it that way. So that's something you can definitely do. So check out one of those island name generators, even if you're not doing hard mode. They're very helpful. Now, the next rule is that the starting villagers have to pick the spot where their houses go. So this is Paula picking where her house wants to go, and she just picks wherever she very well pleases, which is right here. Now, as you can see, it's just placed. I'm not going out of my way to place it on the beach or, make it so it's out of the ordinary of what a normal playthrough would be. Now, next up are the daily rules, which we'll go through each one. So you can time travel within a 7-day period, Monday through Sunday, and you can also give yourself the challenge of no time travel if you want. You must purchase one thing from Nook Crannies in the Able Sister shop. You must get your fortune read by Katrina, which, don't worry, a lot of us don't have that yet. It takes a couple steps before you get her. You must complete all of the 2x Nook Miles Plus. You must participate in daily stretching once a day. You must complete the daily NPC quests. And all new bugs, fish, sea creatures, art, and fossils must be donated before selling. And there are some caveats in this. Like, we cannot sell fossils. Fossils are something you kind of just have to keep after you donate the first version of it. I like to gift them to my villagers because they love fossils, but everything else can be sold, mostly through the Nook Stop box, but we'll talk about that shortly. And of course, there is daily checklists to every day that you have in hard mode. Even if you're time traveling, you have to get through everything every single day. Like I said, Katrina's a little bit hard to get to, but feel free to screenshot this if you want, so that way you can kind of have the checklist and also where to sell for these options. It's very easy to remember once you do it a few times. Now, purchasing what item from Nook Shop and the Able Sister Shop is super easy. You're just going through and you're finding one item that you like, something that you want to buy, which again shouldn't be too difficult because they have many different options every day for you to pick from. And if anything, it's always good to catalog an item. So if you find something that you like, I don't know about this, but I may need it in the future, just buy it, catalog it, and that way you can be able to give it to a villager if you want. When it comes to the Able Sister Shop, you're only buying accessories like shoes, socks, glasses, items on the face, and then hair accessories. The clothes that you get along the way, you can just gift them to villagers. It's super easy to do that, and it gets rid of them out of your storage. Now, when it comes to donating, you want to make sure you donate every single item first so it goes into your museum. You want to be able to donate as many fossils as possible because you cannot sell fossils. You cannot sell them on Sunday markets. You also cannot sell them to Nooks. And that's really because the basis of all of these hard mode rules is to keep the game the way it is. And fossils are sold for so many bells that, selling them is kind of beating the economy and making it so you're making so many bells at the same time, where we want to really capture the essence of this game and go day by day. Now, getting your fortune read by Katrina is one of those daily tasks, but you have to understand that there are some things you have to do before you even get to that part where she can read your fortune. You need to be at 3 stars, so you need to have that already unlocked. You have KK come to your island, and I believe the next day after you unlock KK and KK comes to your island, you're going to get a piece of mail that asks you to go to Harv's Island and to check it out. You also, before that even happens, need to go to Harv's Island and at least go inside the house. I think you need to talk to Harv where he can get you the marketplace unlocked feature. Now, also keep in mind, you need 99,000 bells to unlock Katrina for her to even get that little booth where she can give you the fortune. So there's a couple things to know. So just keep in mind, when you see Harv on your island first towards the beginning of the game, talk to him. Go to the island, check out the photo feature that's inside his house, and that way you can get one step closer to getting Katrina on your island. And also save those bells because you're gonna need them. Now, next up on the rules is going to be that you must complete all Time 2 Nook Miles Plus. Now, those are going to be all 5 of the options that you see here. Some of them are times 5, which is pretty awesome, but these supersede the economy rules. This means that if you need to sell weeds and Leaf is not on your island, you can sell the weeds to the Nook Shop box without needing to sell it to Leaf. That's what they mean by being able to supersede those rules, because there are some that may have you bending the rules, but you have to complete all 5 of them. So that is something you will see that you have to get done every single day. And that's every day, even if you time travel. Now, this one is actually a fun one. I've never used to do stretching on my island before, and it's actually a super cute feature. You get to have all of your little island villagers all together to do some yoga basically and stretching. But the cool thing is you will actually get some rare items that you can only get through completing these achievements by stretching. And also, a fun little tip that I didn't even think about is your NPC for the island will participate in the stretching. So if you're trying to find Leaf, CJ, well, Leaf wouldn't be hidden, but CJ or Flick, maybe Sahara, they're going to show up and do the stretching with you so you can be able to see which NPC is on your island for that day. Now, another part about those daily tasks is talking to the NPC on your island, whether it's Red, who's trying to sell you some questionable art, sometimes, real art. I did learn throughout YouTube process that the first time you see Red, all of the art is legitimate. So don't pick too hard because all of them are going to be legitimate. I picked the Mona Lisa because I thought that was awesome. But you also may see Gulliver on your island, Sahara, Leaf. Those are all the NPCs that you can interact with for that day. Now, of course, you may have your own daily tasks like I do. I like to find my money rock every day. I like to find my DIY in a bottle. I also like to try to find any items inside of trees, although that takes a little bit longer to do. And I also like to make sure that I find fossils on the ground. And then I also like to make sure I find that bag of bells that's in the ground with the 1,000 bells in it. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but you have to bury the 1,000 bells and no more than that. Now there are quite a lot of villager rules, so let's go through these here. You must keep at least one starting villager until you get their photo. That's pretty difficult. You have to be like best friends with them, and then eventually they'll give you their photo. All villagers with thought bubbles must be talked to, and if they want to leave, you must let them go. You can only gift one villager per day, so you can't just keep giving gifts to everybody, no matter how generous you are. And if you get a campsite villager, you must invite them to your island. The starting villager rules still apply. So if they want to kick out the starting villager and they haven't given you the photo, you can't have them move in. Those are the rules that are set, especially with those starting villagers. Now, if you want to go villager hunting, you can still do that. That is still something you can do on the island. Rules require you to be able to only use 10 of those tickets. And on the 10th ticket, if you cannot find that villager that you want, you either have to take that villager or you have to autofill. And that's something that can be a little bit, anxiety inducing for some people, but I've had really good luck with autofills lately. But maybe that just be me. You can only go to one mystery island per day with the exception of hunts, of course. And then no amiibo scans, Sanrio items cannot be sold, and you cannot move villager houses until you can gift them. So those are quite a few steps to go through to be able we can get those villagers on here. Let's go through each of those. Now we're going to talk about that first rule, and that first rule we have is going to be that you have to keep your starting villagers until you get their photo. Now that's a lot. That's a lot of work to do. That's like talking to them every single day. But there's also the rule of only gifting one villager a day. That kind of means you have to pick favorites, and you have to find each of your starting villagers to be able to give them that gift, but you have to build up that friendship at the same time. I've kind of chose Rolled as the one that I'm going to be able to give the gifts to every day. I do give Paula some gifts every now and then, but I want to make sure I build that friendship with Rolled, not only so we're just best friends, but because I want him to give me his photo, so if he ever decides to leave, he can go, because I already have his photo, and we don't need to worry about anything beyond that. Now, villager hunting, like we talked about, is still a thing. You can do it. You're just not going to be wasting 50 to 100 tickets to find the dreamy you've been looking for the whole entire game. Now, like I said, you can only use up to 10 tickets, and on that 10th ticket, if you cannot find the villager that you want, you either have to take that 10th villager or you have to autofill the plot. And autofilling means that you're just going to randomly get somebody on that island, which you have no control over, which can be crazy. But it can be very fulfilling if you get a very cute villager, like I got Callie, and I was very pleased. I think just villager hunting in general can kind of be, anxiety inducing, but just keep in mind those rules. Now, if you're not trying to find villagers, you can only go to one mystery island a day. Let's say you're trying to find like wood or rocks or something, you can only go to one a day, and that also goes for the Captain Islands too. Now, if you do have a campsite villager show up on your island, like I had the amazing Wart Jr. show up at mine, you have to invite them to stay on your island. Now, this usually involves like a card game of some sort, just like Wart's doing right now. You usually have to pick black or red. Sometimes you have to pick which kind of card it is. And if you get it wrong, you usually have to try again. But if they ask for your starting villager to leave and you haven't gotten their photo yet, you cannot have them move in because those rules still apply even at the campsite. Now, one of the sadder rules that they have is that if you have one of your villagers have this little thought bubble and they want to leave, you have to let them leave, even if it's your favorite villager, even if you've worked so hard to try and find them when you were, hunting for them with Nook Miles tickets, you have to let them go. It's what they want. Don't keep them beyond their will. That is one of the rules, so if you do see a thought bubble, you have to talk to your villager. Now, the next set of rules are the design rules. Now, you can only wear your custom clothes ones that you designed or from another player's ables that are playing hard mode, something that they've designed as well. Your outfit must change every single week. Now, you can also purchase, like I said earlier, hats, glasses, accessories. Those are allowed to be purchased from the Able shop, and you must post your designs in Able. So we're going to see what that looks like in a second. You can only use custom codes you design, and you must design your own flag. So let's go ahead and see what these kind of look like to be able to create these designs for yourself. Now, something I absolutely love about hard mode is it got me into actually creating my own custom codes. I never created custom codes before unless I needed something like on a whim, and even then it was not going to be good. I created all the pathing for my whole entire island, which you can kind of see that process here. This is a very simple path, mind you. They could get very in-depth, but I created the path for this, which is so awesome to be able to know that like I created the pathing that I'm walking on. Something else I've been getting a lot of fulfillment fulfillment from is actually creating the outfits that I make as well. Now, I've gotten a lot of inspiration from Pinterest. I've even seen grids on Pinterest, and these grids have helped me make my designs, and then I can even add a little bit of flair to it that makes it my own, because it's really hard to just make clothes out of nowhere, especially if you're not used to using like pixels or pixelated drawings. It can be hard to know where to put shading, so Pinterest is the first place I would recommend going if you're having any difficulty creating any clothes that you want, especially if you're going for more of like a cottagecore vibe or any sort of like really cute clothing. They are very difficult to make on your own. Now, I'm not saying that you can't. It's just something that you may find a little bit more of a struggle with it, because it is just not that clear cut what you should be doing. And also, like, the whole process of creating these custom codes can be kind of difficult too. So just take it slow, test everything out, see how it looks, so that way you're not frustrated when creating any of these clothes or pathing, because it can be kind of frustrating. Now, I think the best thing in the world when creating your custom clothes is when you see this happen. Your villagers will be walking around with the outfit on, and this only happens when you post it inside your Ables. Now, you have to do that by walking up to the clothes that are up inside of Ables and putting your own design there. Now, you can see here, I'm putting my design up here so that way you can see that I have a dress that I have made, and I've put a couple up there, but if you post them here, you may see your villagers walking around with it, which, like I said, is the best feeling ever. But you can also buy things from Ables. It's a requirement every day. Now, you can buy clothes for your villagers because, let's be honest, if you want to see a villager in a certain piece of clothing, buy it. That's no problem. But for yourself, you can only buy the accessories. So like I'm doing here, a mustache, some boots, socks, a hat, those things. Now, also, those are the things you're going to be wearing to pair with your outfit. So if you have a lot of the same accessory, maybe create a custom-made outfit around that. Now, these rules may very well be the most important rules that you can find in the game, and those are the economy rules. The whole purpose of hard mode is really built around the economy of Animal Crossing and how we've all been exploiting it, because let's be honest, every time I've started this game, I've gone right to a treasure island. I've gotten all of the materials that I've needed. I was able to pick up 100, 200 Nook Miles, go on a villager hunt till the end of my heart's desire. And you can also get an unlimited amount of bells too, so you don't ever have to worry about money. That's not what Animal Crossing's about. So let's go over these rules. Now, you can only have 4 3x3 plots for selling crops, so they must be in bunches of 3 as well, so essentially you have to water them every day. You can only harvest and sell fruit from 9 trees and 4 coconut trees. Turnips are allowed, and you must only sell them on your island, and you can buy them from other islands on Sundays as well. No treasure islands, no Nookazon. You can only sell your bugs to Flick and fish to CJ and weeds to Leaf, that's it. Materials and crafted items can be sold to Nooks. All other items only sold at Sunday market. So those are items that you can find like in the Nook shop. Crops, fruit, sea creatures, forageables like mushrooms, acorn shells are only to be sold at the Nook deposit box. Money trees you can only plant what you dig up, so 1,000, and no trading flowers and no selling fossils. Fossils really can only be gifted to your villagers. So let's see a couple examples of these. Now, while you're not able to sell your fossils, they make great decorations. Even just dropping them here, making a dig site is probably something I recommend. And try placing the fossils, because you never know when you're going to get one that's as cool as the amber is here to be able to decorate certain parts of your island. The Nook deposit box. This is something I've only ever used very rarely if I had to, and it was only pretty much when Nooks was closed and I needed to sell something. But this is where you're going to be able to sell your shells, your forageable items, fruit that you need to sell, and any crops. Now, crops is a great way to earn money, but remember, you have to water them every day to make sure that they're in bunches of 3s so you can actually sell them at the Nook deposit box. Now, because you can only sell bugs to Flick and fish to CJ, you're going to end up with a giant mountain of fish and bugs like you see here. It's a mountain. You will also see that you're going to be gathering them because Flick and CJ really don't come to your island often. Now, I can say that when they do come to your island and you have a ton of fish or bugs, you're going to make a lot of bells. So it is worth saving. It is worth catching those bugs and fish. Now, another thing to note is because you just can't sell items like you want to, there's a lot of them that are kind of like off limits. You're going to end up not having a lot of bells and not enough storage in your house. So I'm warning you now, you're going to have a lot of items all over your island just kind of laying around because you don't know what to do with all of the stuff that you have. I ran out of storage in my house pretty fast because I just don't have the bells to pay off my 198,000 bell mortgage right now. So I'm kind of left with no space, and I just have to put everything on my island. I have multiple piles of stuff that are it's just growing because I have nowhere else to put it. So keep in mind that if you don't focus on paying off your loan, you're going to end up with a lot of stuff all over. And that's okay. We all have a little pile, especially for hard mode. Now, I've had so much fun with Sunday markets. Like, I can't even start to explain how much fun I've had with them. To find anything with the Sunday markets, you're actually going to go to the Discord for Nintentalk. There is a whole different section on there just to be able to find people who want to do Sunday markets. You're going to find all of that on Nintentalk's description of their videos. Now, if you do see this Discord, there is one specific category just for this where people can post pictures, you can message them, and you can find the exact item that you're looking for. Now, there are some rules to that. Let's go ahead into those rules when it comes to Sunday markets. Each time you go to Sunday markets, you will also see that there are certain items that are just going for a crazy amount of bells. One of them is the kids tent that tends to always be sold for a lot. It's 150,000 bells here. So it's a great way to actually make bells to sell these things for a lot of items. And we also have this island, which is selling each thing for 2,000 bells each. Really good way to be able to buy something for cheap. Now, there are some other things you have to know about it. You have to deposit 2,000 bells into each deposit box when you get to a player's island. The deposit box is actually a DIY you get pretty early on from your Nook Miles redemption, so you'll see that there. I believe it's 2,000. I could be wrong though. Probably wrong. But here I am on somebody's island that I'm visiting. I met them through the Discord app. I was able to message them and find out what they were selling. Here's another person that I found. I went to a lot of islands. I go to lots of them when I do the Sunday markets because there's a lot of different islands that are selling really good items that I want, and some of them are DIYs. Like this one here, I'm going to drop my bells first, so make sure that they know I'm being honest because I don't ever want anybody to think I'm scamming them. So this is a little video of me after I went to my Sunday markets. These were all of the items I were able to find. I made out pretty well that week. And this here is actually me selling my own item. For this Sunday market that I hosted, I actually did a silent auction where people were actually messaging me what they wanted to bid on it. And at the end of the time limit, I was able to communicate that with the people who are bidding, and the person with the highest bid was able to come over. This is something that is practiced quite often in Sunday markets, is the auction feature. This is an auction I actually went to where they had 5 people come over and all of us kind of bid in real time. I use the Nook app on my phone to be able to use the keyboard. It's much easier than trying to type it on your Switch, and sometimes it can lag a little bit. So host an auction if you want to. It's a great way to make a lot of bells instead of selling something for a set price. But when I did my auction, somebody came and bought all 5 of my items for 160,000 bells. I paid off a bridge. I was able to pay off my rent for my house. It was amazing. Now, while you're doing these Sunday markets, you're also going to meet a lot of really cool people with really amazing islands. I just have to shout out this user. Their island literally looked like Avatar, like the movie Avatar. Like their villager was dressed up like one of them. It was amazing. I love Avatar, so I thought it was just like the coolest thing ever. Now, those were the rules for hard mode, and I just wanted to go over that there are some things you should know about hard mode that I wish someone told me, because hard mode's all fine and dandy. I'm obsessed with it. I love it, but there are some things to know if you're jumping into it. Now, one of those things it's going to be extremely hard to pay off anything in this game, because you're not making a lot of bells, and you really only make your bells by being able to sell through the Nook deposit box for certain things, and then sell to CJ and Flick when they come, and then, you know, maybe DIY items you can sell. You don't make a lot of bells. My rent went unpaid till this day, and I still have a very small house. Another thing is, if you're going to be making things like staircases or bridges, it's also going to be very hard to pay those off too. I don't know when my incline will ever get paid, which is sad but true, but when I went to go pay some money towards it, my villagers only paid 300 bells for it, and it had only been on for like, I think, a day or two, so it'll take you a long time to pay those off too. I recommend the cheaper ones. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you will have piles of stuff all over your island. Because there is no storage available if you can't upgrade your house, it's going to lead you to not having any storage and having piles of just random stuff. So you will have this taking up a lot of space on your island. Another thing to know is you will need to cut time out in your playthrough to catch bugs and fish. It is I want to say arguably the best way to make bells on your island, especially in hard mode. So make sure that you're actually catching bugs and fish, because you're gonna regret it if they come to your island and you don't have a lot to sell, because it is the #1 way to make bells, and it's also the legal way to make bells in hard mode. Also, it's at the very top of the list for hard mode, and somebody reminded me of it only because it's not even on like the main list. It's up at the top. You do need to put on your bulletin board that you have a hard mode island. You can do this any way you want, but you do have to put it on there, so that way if someone visits your island, they know that you're actually doing hard mode and that you're not kind of just like dancing through the different options that they have. Because the people like me who are hard mode players, we're pretty passionate about it, and we want to make sure that other people are following those rules too, because you can tell if someone's not following the hard mode rules. Like if someone has a perfectly developed island and they've only been playing it for like a week or two, they might be, dancing around the rules there, because when you put in the time, this game, it takes you a long time to take certain steps, and you can kind of tell when someone is taking their time with this game or when they're not. So don't forget to put the hard mode there. That way we can let all of us know that you are doing hard mode, that you are passionate about it as well. And don't forget to check out that Discord, so that way we can all kind of play hard mode together. Now, bottom line, when it comes to hard mode, especially for Animal Crossing New Horizons, you gotta give it up for Pat over on Nintendo Talk, because he came up with this amazing idea that has brought so many people together, brought so much joy to my life with Animal Crossing again. So thank you so much for creating this challenge. I know it was something you may have just come up with on a whim, but you really have brought so many people together with this, and I really hope you understand like the impact it's had on a lot of people. Now, never too late to try hard mode, like I said. Please jump into it if you want to. It is going to bring you a lot of joy, and also it's so nice to be able just to focus on those daily tasks for once, instead of having to, really burn yourself out. Not going to Treasure Islands at first was kind of a bummer for me, but then I realized I was going to Treasure Island. I was burning myself out so fast with the game, and really getting all the items that would have taken me time to be able to play the game and get, and it made the game so much more special. So if you want to try out hard mode, definitely give it a try and see how much fun it can be for you. Now, thank you so much for coming with me through this journey of hard mode. I know it wasn't the shortest video, but it was something where I felt like it was a little bit necessary to run through these rules for somebody who maybe wants to try hard mode but thinks that there's too many rules. There really isn't. I know there is a lot of rules, but when it comes down to having fun and enjoying this game every day for what it is, that's when you realize there really isn't a lot, because it really should just be the way that the game is played, enjoying it, savoring the day by day in Animal Crossing. So thank you again for coming with me for this journey, for this video. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have the best day ever. And like all my intros, my name is Devin, this is Sunday Crossing, and just have the best day. Bye!